Welcome back to our channel on this beautiful day. We are thrilled to have you join us once again as we dive deep into the chaotic, unpredictable, and heart-wrenching world of Genoa City. Grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and let us explore the explosive new developments that are about to change everything for our favorite legacy families forever. The Young and the Restless is meticulously laying the groundwork for a catastrophic disaster that threatens to shake the very foundations of the town. At the epicenter of this impending doom is Nick Newman, a man currently drowning in his own personal demons. In a moment of sheer desperation, Nick has officially handed over the care of his son, Christian Newman, to the boy's biological father, Adam Newman. This transfer of guardianship is a ticking time bomb wrapped in decades of fraternal resentment. The sheer weight of this responsibility is immense, but the true danger lies in the subtle, terrifying clues that the writers have begun to drop. What dark fate is waiting to consume the youngest generation of the Newman dynasty? To understand the gravity of this impending disaster, we must first look at the psychological collapse of Nick Newman. Nick is no longer the resilient protector of his family. He is a broken man, isolated in a desolate, dingy motel room, suffocating under the weight of a lethal fentanyl addiction. He has violently rejected every attempt at intervention, most notably exploding in a fit of absolute rage when Adam tried to forcefully dictate his recovery. Instead of seeking the professional help he desperately needs, Nick has retreated into a highly toxic, codependent sanctuary with Marie Kirkland, a woman who is secretly acting as a saboteur orchestrated by the sinister Matt Clark. Will Nick ever realize that his desperate attempt to protect his son by pushing him away might be the exact catalyst that destroys the boy's life? On the other side of this fragile equation stands Adam Newman, a man already buckling under an unimaginable amount of psychological trauma and chaos. Adam is currently pacing the sterile halls of Genoa City Memorial Hospital, deeply traumatized by the horrific shooting of Sally Spectra, who is fighting for her life. Furthermore, Adam is reeling from the apocalyptic revelation that Nikki Newman, not Victor, is his biological mother, a secret that has completely shattered his identity. Now, amidst this suffocating grief and fury, Adam has been tasked with the ultimate responsibility, protecting Christian. With his thirst for vengeance against Billy Abbott clouding his judgment, can Adam truly provide the vigilant supervision that a vulnerable, grieving teenager requires? Or is he unknowingly setting the stage for a monumental tragedy? The most chilling aspect of this unfolding narrative lies in the specific, deliberate clues dropped during the August 7th broadcast. Nick did not merely hand over his child, he explicitly pointed out that Christian is now a teenager, and, most alarmingly, that he knows how to drive. In the world of soap operas, such specific details are never mentioned by coincidence. They are the narrative breadcrumbs leading directly to a catastrophic event. Christian is no longer a passive child. He is a rebellious, confused teenager who is currently watching his father spiral into the abyss of addiction. When a reckless teenager is handed the metaphorical keys to freedom while drowning in emotional turmoil, the results are almost always deadly. What catastrophic choice will Christian make to express his profound inner pain? This brings us to the ultimate symbol of temptation and impending disaster, Nicky Newman's beloved, high-performance Ferrari. The show has made a point of repeatedly referencing this incredibly powerful, dangerous machine, positioning it as a loaded weapon waiting to be fired. For a rebellious teenager looking for an escape or a thrill, the keys to that Ferrari represent the ultimate forbidden fruit. It is entirely plausible, and frankly inevitable, that Christian will seize an opportunity when Adam is distracted by the ongoing medical crises with Sally or his own corporate vendettas. In a moment of sheer defiance and adrenaline-fueled desperation, Christian is highly likely to steal those keys and speed off into the dangerous, winding roads surrounding Genoa City. Will this act of teenage rebellion be the fatal mistake that shatters the Newman family beyond repair? Visualize the sheer horror of the impending crash that is destined to rock the daytime television landscape, the roar of the Ferrari's engine echoing through the quiet, dark streets, driven by a boy whose vision is clouded by tears of frustration and anger. Christian, inexperienced and overwhelmed by the sheer horsepower of the exotic car, will inevitably push the limits far beyond his capabilities. The screeching of tires, the blinding glare of oncoming headlights, and the terrifying, deafening crunch of metal as the beautiful machine is reduced to a mangled tomb of steel and glass will be unforgettable. A crash of this magnitude would not just be an accident, it would be the physical manifestation of all the toxic secrets and neglect that have plagued this family. Who will be the first to receive the agonizing phone call that their boy is bleeding out on the asphalt? The aftermath of this vehicular nightmare will serve a brilliant, dual purpose for the writers and producers of the show. By placing Christian in the center of a life-or-death medical emergency, the series can seamlessly introduce a newly aged-up teenage version of the character. There is no better way to debut a rapid aging syndrome recast than by having the entire town gather around his intensive care unit bed, weeping over his bruised, battered, and heavily bandaged face. When the bandages finally come off, the audience will be introduced to a mature, complex young man who has been hardened by severe trauma and a terrifying brush with death. Will this new, older Christian emerge from the wreckage as a sympathetic victim, or will the trauma forge him into a dark, cynical heir ready to wage war against the fathers who failed him? For Adam Newman, the fallout of this horrific crash will be nothing short of a psychological annihilation. He looked his brother in the eye and silently promised to protect the boy they both consider a son. If Christian nearly dies under his watch, the guilt will consume Adam entirely, eating away at whatever fragile sanity he has left. This catastrophic failure will compound exponentially with his existing trauma over Sally's critical condition in the surgical ward and the shocking, identity-destroying reality of his true maternity. Victor Newman will undoubtedly unleash an apocalyptic wrath upon Adam, seeing only that Adam allowed a precious Newman heir to steal a car and nearly perish. Can Adam possibly survive the crushing weight of being the father who let his son drive straight into the jaws of death, or will this break him forever? Meanwhile, the devastating news of the crash will eventually penetrate the dark, drug-fueled sanctuary where Nick has isolated himself from the world. How will Nick, heavily intoxicated and under the sinister, manipulative influence of Marie Kirkland, process the horrifying information that his son is fighting for his life? This could be the ultimate, brutal catalyst needed to snap Nick out of his fentanyl-induced haze. The sheer terror of losing Christian might trigger a primal, paternal adrenaline rush, giving him the superhuman strength to fight off Marie's lethal enablement. Conversely, the paralyzing guilt of knowing that his absence directly led to Christian's rebellion might be the final blow that completely breaks Nick's spirit. Will Christian's tragedy be the miraculous wake-up call that saves Nick's life, or the final nail in the coffin of his tragic demise? The collateral damage of this impending disaster will certainly not be limited to the immediate Newman family circle. A high-speed crash involving a stolen, high-performance Ferrari on the public streets of Genoa City introduces the terrifying possibility of innocent victims being caught in the crossfire. What if Christian's reckless driving causes him to collide with another beloved resident of the town? The writers could easily use this catastrophic event to intertwine multiple, seemingly unrelated storylines, perhaps severely injuring someone like Claire, who is already suffering from profound psychological trauma. If Christian's actions result in the severe injury of another legacy character, the legal and moral ramifications will haunt the young boy for the rest of his natural life. Who else might find themselves caught in the deadly, unavoidable crossfire of Christian's desperate cry for help? The legal consequences of the crash will also ignite a massive firestorm of controversy and corruption across the city. A teenager stealing a luxury car and causing a massive, destructive accident will inevitably draw the intense scrutiny of the local police department and the district attorney. Will Victor Newman use his vast, limitless wealth and political influence to illegally cover up the crime, bribing officials and tampering with forensic evidence to protect his grandson from the horrors of juvenile detention? This would place the entire Newman family in direct, dangerous conflict with the law, potentially exposing Victor's other ongoing criminal cover-ups. If Adam attempts to take the fall for the boy to alleviate his own crushing guilt, it could result in Adam facing severe prison time. How far will the powerful Newman family go to manipulate the justice system to save their own blood? As the dust finally settles, and the rhythmic beeping of medical monitors fills the silent hospital rooms, the ultimate question of custody will rise from the ashes of the crash. Nick, despite being the only father Christian has ever truly known and loved, will be forced to confront the harsh reality that he is an active, dangerous addict who abandoned his post when his son needed him most. Adam, the biological father, will be permanently branded as a negligent, distracted guardian who allowed the boy to nearly kill himself under his roof. This creates a terrifying, unprecedented power vacuum regarding who is actually fit to raise the teenage heir. Could this spark a vicious, highly publicized legal battle where Victor and Nikki attempt to seize full permanent custody of Christian? Who truly deserves the right to guide Christian through the dark, painful aftermath of his immense trauma? The emotional landscape of Genoa City is about to be violently and permanently rearranged by the screeching of tires and breaking glass. The introduction of a teenage Christian Newman is not just a simple casting update. It is a strategic, highly explosive narrative deployment designed to inject fresh, chaotic energy into the legacy families. This young man will wake up with a new face, a new voice, and a deep, unquenchable well of resentment toward the men who were supposed to protect him. His recovery process will be grueling, requiring intense physical therapy and deep psychological counseling, providing months of compelling, emotionally rich television for the devoted audience. He will be a dangerous wildcard, fiercely independent, deeply scarred, and entirely unpredictable in his actions. Will he gravitate towards the dark, manipulative tendencies of his biological father Adam, or will he strive to embody the honorable spirit of the man who raised him, Nick?